Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Chicane, where we, your hosts, Brynlee
and McKenna,
bring the chic to motorsport.
Our goal is to bring you the latest paddock pulp, provide in-depth and unique interviews with fans and your favorite F1 content creators,
and encourage you in learning about the sport in a fun and innovative way.
We hope you stick around and enjoy this week's episode, and if you haven't already, check out our first episode to get to know more about your hosts.
With that, let's get revving. Woo! Okie dokie.
All right. We're back in China. But first,
we gotta do
P1s and DNFs.
That was pretty cool of us. We're hopping. What was your P1 for this week?
My P1 hasn't happened yet, but I'm leaving on Sunday, which is in 5 days, to go on a cruise. So heading down to Miami. Sadly, I won't be there for the race. It's the week before the race. But getting in a little nice vacation. And then DNF is I have to pack for that. I don't know about you, but I don't like packing. I don't like prepping for trips and stuff. And so just getting everything ready for that. And deep cleaning the house, because I hate coming back to a dirty house.
Yeah.
So I hate it now, but I'll be thankful when I get back.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like this week has been another one of those just like weeks. Not much has happened in either regard. Like I don't think I have a DNF this week. But I'll just say what I had a P1 this morning. I have a Jeep, and it's a Jeep Patriot, and in the Jeep community, I'm not considered cool enough to get the Jeep Wave because it's like more of a like family car, I guess. But I was driving on the way here, and a Jeep, like a legit Jeep, did the Jeep Wave to me, and I felt so cool. It just made my day, and I loved it. So shout out to that person. But yeah, it was so fun. Oh, I know another P1.
Okay.
This is kind of like a P1 and a DNF, but my grandmother passed away like 2 weeks ago, and they lived in Florida, and so my parents went down for the funeral to celebrate her life and everything. And while they were there, they were talking to some family members, and my dad was just like bragging on me apparently about like the podcast and everything and how I'm like into racing and cars and all that stuff. He was talking to one of my like uncles that I'm not really close with, and he was like, wait a second, she likes Formula 1? And my dad was like, yeah. And he was like, she more than likes Formula 1, dude. Like, and he was like, I love Formula 1. Like, I keep up with it like religiously. And my dad was like, oh, well, she has a podcast for it. And he goes, she has a podcast? What is it called? And my dad was like, it's called Chicane. And he goes, oh my gosh, that's such a genius name for it, like because of the chicane of a track.
Yeah.
And he like understood it, and so he plugged the podcast, and my uncle's gonna follow it. So if you're listening,
hi, Brynlee's uncle.
So I was just like, that's so cool. Like my family members are starting to plug my podcast.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's a P1 for the week.
You are worth bragging about.
Well, you are too. This is our podcast. I was just so excited though, because I was like, more people are reaching it.
Yeah,
I got some people on TikTok that asked about it too, so I was like, oh my gosh. We got some new listeners. We appreciate you. We appreciate you very, very much. So you are a P1 for this week.
Yes.
Do you have any DNFs?
I said one already, right?
Oh, yeah, because like cleaning and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah. I don't really have a DNF that I can think of yet.
That's good.
Yeah. Like I said, good week. So this episode this week is going to be a little bit shorter because it is China. We're going to do our regular like China pre-race preview, and then we're going to give you some information on like what happened at the 2016, which was the last time we've been at this track. 2019. Sorry, I keep doing that. 2019 was the last time we were here at this track, so we'll give you some information on what happened at that race. So it'll be a shorter episode, but it should still be fun. This week's paddock pulp, I only have one thing. Fernando Alonso has signed a contract extension with Aston Martin, which is pretty fun. That means he has a secured seat for 2025 until the beginning of 2026. So we don't know if he'll stay for those regulations or at that team, but that kind of closes the gap on where Carlos Sainz can go for 2025.
So we have 5 drivers now who like we know like have signed contracts
For 2025?
for 2025.
Yeah. Which is Lando, Oscar, Lewis, Charles, and Max. Well, now 6 then, because Alonso. Everyone
no one else has like confirmed that they have a seat yet.
So there's a couple of wiggle room. We obviously still don't have the Mercedes seat filled for next year because Lewis is moving.
George is guaranteed.
Yeah.
So 7.
So there's a couple, like, silly season should be really, really interesting, even though it's been happening all year long with all the drama.
Yeah. This has been an interesting time, for sure.
Oh, this is not paddock poll, but it's just like a fun little mention. If you haven't seen on social media, Charles Leclerc opened a ice cream, like, brand.
Yes.
It's called Lec. Little play on the name of his last name. Lec. L-E-C. He's got 5 or 4 flavors out.
I think so. I went to the website, and it's all in Italian.
So I know,
like, I was like understanding bits and like gathering the general gist
idea
of everything, but I was like, I don't exactly know what
he said that he wanted to create an ice cream that was like a little bit healthier than most ice creams that had like some protein and it was like less calories, and so he partnered with some people to do that. And so some of the, I'm trying to think of the names. He has a flavor called swirly pistachio with like an emphasis on the O. I'm trying to look at the, I know there's like he has one called like caramel. Yeah. With his little accent, he said it. There's a chocolate one, and then there's like a vanilla. He said vanilla is his favorite flavor, so it's just like
kind of boring, actually. So
yeah, very vanilla, if you get my drift. But yeah, and then he also got a puppy, and his name's Leo.
Yeah.
He's so cute.
Leo is so cute.
He's so cute. He was like, you see this little slide of like the pictures and videos?
Yeah.
A little floppy baby. He's so cute.
He's so precious.
But yeah, that's all I've got for Paddock Pulp this week.
Yeah. And so, speaking of ice cream, if anyone wants to do a group trip to Italy to, try some ice cream,
I'm down.
Hit us up. Gelato.
Yeah, but
technically.
Make a fun trip out of it. I mean, the summer is coming up. Like, it's graduation trip.
It's prime time. Yeah, exactly.
I'm down. Okay. So, what do we have next?
All right. So, we're going to finally talk about China a little bit. We're at Shanghai International Circuit. And we already mentioned that last time we were here was 2019. So, it's been 5 years. And so this is our 5th week of racing, and we have a sprint race this week, which is going to be really exciting. This is a really interesting track, and so I think it'll be this, like, there's lots of interesting turns and whatnot.
Also, just a second, in the first season, I do have an episode where I explain how a sprint weekend works, so if you're confused on, this is the first time you've watched a sprint, or you don't know how really it works, then go back to that episode and learn about that, so you can have a fun weekend.
And so, 1 second, let me find my spot again.
You can just start the Chinese Grand Prix. You started the Chinese Grand Prix. You were going to mention everything else?
Okay. So, with the Chinese Grand Prix brings lots of excitement and fun. An interesting fact about the track is it's designed to look like a Chinese symbol for Shang, meaning upwards.
Yes. So, this is a very challenging track for most of the drivers, so it should be an interesting weekend.
Yeah, to say the least.
For the time zones, as usual, if you are EST, like Eastern Standard Time Zone, that's Eastern Standard?
Eastern. Okay. It sounded like you said Easter.
Eastern. I just have a twang. The race will actually be at 2 a.m. The sprint should be 10 to 11 on the 19th, and the race should be 2 a.m. on the 21st, and then just go check your F1 app for times and see if you can watch the race live. That should be fun.
So this circuit is 5.4 kilometers, which is 3.3 miles. And our laps we have 56 laps.
As for DRS and turns, this turn has 16 turns and 2 DRS zones and 1 speed trap.
So, for a little bit of background, in April of 2003, marshland in Jiading district of Shanghai was embarked for Formula One greatness. 18 months? What? And around 450 million later, the state-of-the-art Shanghai International Circuit was complete. And this came from Formula1.com.
Mm-hmm.
And so this track had its first race in 2004, which basically said, hey, we're making a track, and a year later it happened.
Yeah, which is really impressive with how it started off. Like they said, it was on a marshland, and it cost so much time and effort and money.
Which is, you think about 450 million is a lot now.
Think about it now.
20 years ago. That's a buttload of money.
Yes. As for the past podium, the last podium we saw here in 2019 was Hamilton, right? I said 2019. Okay. I keep overthinking the 2019. I don't know why. Okay, Hamilton, Bottas, and Sebastian Vettel, with 3 DNFs being Lando Norris, Daniel Kvyat, and Nico Hülkenberg.
Our lap record here was set by Michael Schumacher, which is 1 minute 32.2 seconds. And he set this record in 2004, which, if you recall from a couple seconds ago, the first race here was in 2004. So that has been a long-standing track record.
Yeah. That's literally 20 years, because I'm turning 20 this year. It's a 20-year record that has not been broken.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Started out with a bang.
Started off with a big bang. All right, so now we'll do our pre-race predictions, then we'll go into our piss-off fun fact, and then some history about the track. And, whatever.
Race predictions.
Oh, this is hard.
Okay, I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to say Max is first.
Okay, so your hot take for the race is Max is not first.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going George.
Oh.
Race win.
Oh.
Second ever race win. On the podium with I'm trying to think of something that could happen but isn't too out there. So second place will be Max. Why not Max? Who can get second place?
Interesting. So he doesn't DNF.
He spins out on the last lap, and George is in second, passes him.
Okay.
And then
I swear if that happens.
Carlos, because Carlos has been killing it this season.
Okay.
And so 5 for 5 for our podium.
Okay. I think my hot take for the whole weekend is a non-Max sprint win.
Oh. Yeah.
We had last year, I think the drivers love the sprints and not Max. And because it's much shorter than the actual race. There's, like I said, there's an episode on that if you want to tune in for that. But we saw Oscar win last year in, which was it? I can't remember which race it was. But he won against Max for a sprint race, and that was really, really awesome and incredible. So I would love to see that again. Push for that win. So I'm not going to specify who. I'm just going to say a non-Max sprint race win. And then podium predictions. I'm going to say Hamilton, Checo, and a Ferrari.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Do you have DNF predictions?
Okay. For my DNF predictions, I'm going with okay, I was about to say hot take, there's no DNFs.
Oh.
But this is a very
hard
twisty track. So there's probably going to be one. At least one.
I also have another, not hot take, but two things I want to happen.
Okay, go ahead.
I want Zhou to get points because it's his home race. And I want Bottas to get points. So double stake points.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I want.
I'm going to say we have a Haas DNF.
Ooh, okay. So just one?
Just one.
Okay. I can't believe I'm doing this to myself. I'm going to say 3 DNFs like we had the first time. Maybe even 4, but I'm going to say 3. I think I'm going to say McLaren DNF. We don't do well at this circuit. We don't do well at the circuit at all. So realistically, I don't think we're going to get any. I think we'll get one person in the points. But I mean, Oscar and Lando are great drivers and they've both grown. So I'm really hoping we do. I'm just saying. Okay. 1 McLaren DNF. I agree with the Haas. And then Alex.
I thought it, but I didn't want to say it.
Well, I mean, the car for both of them suck. And like
Williams cannot take that.
No, I know. But I am saying Alex so that Logan doesn't DNF again.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah. A McLaren, a Haas, and Alex.
I'm on board with that.
Okay. So 3 DNFs.
Yep.
That's our pre-race predictions for China this weekend. Box.
Box. So for our pit stop fun fact today, we have a very short one.
Oh, really?
But if you ever
look short.
No, this isn't the same.
Oh, that's mine.
Yeah,
okay, sorry.
I didn't write it down.
Okay.
But we were a little rushed on time, so I didn't have that much to look at. But you'll see drivers get out of their cars after practices, races, qualifying, and step on a scale.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's to see how much weight they lose, to make sure, there's nothing about balance in the car that they're, trying to sneak around or whatever. But drivers can lose anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds in a single race.
Wow.
Which is 90 minutes. So you can lose 10 pounds in 90 minutes.
That's crazy. I think that's why we see most of the drivers, I don't mean this in, a negative way, but, carb loading after the race. Most of the drivers stick to really healthy diets, but then in the pre-race, post-race interviews, you see them drinking sodas, eating, a quick snack. You always see them, because they have a weight limit and then a weight maximum that they have to reach each week, each race week, so I think that's probably why.
Yeah, so in the words of Danny Rick, real athletes sweat.
Kiki. Sweat. Okay, so some history about this track. The reason that we haven't seen it since 2019 is due to China's regulations. With COVID-19 and everything, they shut down the whole country for this, so there hasn't been a lot of in and out travel, specifically 100% in 2020 and 2021. So that's the main reason that we have not seen this race since 2019, but it will be on the calendar next year and for 2026, so we will be seeing more races here in the coming years. Like I said, the last time that we were here was in 2019, and this was Formula One's 1,000th championship race. Ooh. In their Formula One history. That's crazy to me. It was a rookie season for Alex Albon, George Russell, and Lando Norris. So this was their very first race here. Not their first race that they ever raced, but they had never raced in China before. Valtteri Bottas was fighting for podiums in the 2019 season alongside Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton, throwback to when they were teammates. If you didn't know that, they were teammates for a couple of years.
And they were teammates.
What?
I was just thinking that they were roommates.
Oh. I thought you said they weren't. And I was like, girl, I literally just said they were.
What are you talking about?
My bad. Pierre Gasly set the fastest lap at this race in a Red Bull seat. He was in Red Bull at this time.
That left my memory.
Yeah. So if you actually look at the seating arrangements for this season, it's pretty interesting. If you're very new to Formula One, there's some people that you might not have heard of, which I'll mention in a minute. But I believe this time, Lando and Carlos were at McLaren. Max and Pierre Gasly were at Red Bull. What's his name? Alex Albon was at Toro Rosso, which is now AlphaTauri, and which is now VCarb. They've changed a lot. And then, where was Daniel at? Kvyat?
Danny was...
No, Daniel
Oh.
He was Toro Rosso, right?
I don't know.
I'll have to look that up. Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo was at Renault. Sebastian Vettel was with Ferrari alongside Charles. And Kimi Räikkönen was in the Alfa Romeo seat, which is now Stake, which he used to be a Ferrari champion. So that was towards the end of his F1 career. I gotta know who Daniel was. Daniel Kvyat. I'm pretty sure he was with Toro Rosso, so we're just gonna go with that. But yeah, so the seat changes were a little bit different. A couple people that we don't know. Antonio Giovinazzi, they call him the Jesus of the F1 paddock because he has long hair.
Yeah.
He was in Formula One at this time, and I believe he was the other Alfa Romeo seat. But yeah, some unfamiliar or old names that you might have heard or haven't. As I mentioned, hold on. Alex Albon started from the pits in this race. I can't recall why. I couldn't find any information on that one. It's probably just a engine problem that was set before the race. As I mentioned earlier, Norris and Kvyat both DNF'd this race, but this was due to Kvyat having a wobble on his Toro Rosso. I was right. Toro Rosso that saw him wash into the path of Carlos Sainz's McLaren. The pair collided with Kvyat's car, then bashing into the sister McLaren of Lando Norris, who was then launched dramatically into the air. Kvyat and Sainz were actually fine, but the stewards deemed Kvyat was at fault, and he got a drive-through penalty, which ended up placing him into a DNF position at some point into the race. And then, obviously, with Lando flying into the air, he DNF'd as well.
Could not bring that one home.
Yeah. So, notoriously, throughout the years, this is not a great track for McLaren, so that's why I said there would be a McLaren DNF with Oscar never racing this race and Lando racing it one time and DNFing.
Not too much experience
here, so yeah, that's much of the information that I gathered from this race. I definitely think that if you are interested in watching how the race works, aka the track and the turns and all the DRS zones, I would recommend watching that race from 2019.
I was just thinking about, because you mentioned that Pierre was at Red Bull, and that was the season that, wait, for this happened too. I can't remember which way it was. If Alex had the seat, no, Alex replaced Pierre.
Yeah.
Halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And I just completely forgot that happened until you mentioned it.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's when all the seat swapping was happening. Yeah. And Checo was at Racing Point, which was eventually Alpine? BWT? Yes. So he was at Racing Point at that time, and I believe he, in that season, 2019 or 2020, because they didn't race 2020 that much. They only raced 6 races. But in one of those 2 seasons, Checo won at Bahrain in the BWT.
Right.
And that earned him the full seat to Red Bull. Because he started in 2021, I think. So, yeah, it must have happened in 2020.
I think it's pretty funny how, just thinking back to the whole Pierre and Alex situation, people were so shocked when they dropped Nick. Yeah. And I'm like, they've done this before.
No, yeah.
In
the middle of the season, too.
It's surprising, but it's not shocking. They've done this before.
Yeah. And they'll do it again with Danny.
Yeah. And there's threats of it now, so.
Especially because he didn't finish this last race in June. Yeah. So.
Granted that, I'm not sure who I would, that's just a racing incident.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would say it's either. I just said incident.
Unironically.
Incident. You could maybe say it was Danny's fault, but it was just...
I would say that it was. But...
a racing accident.
Racing incidents happen all the time.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't say he, like, intentionally did it.
No.
Like, oh, I'm gonna make Alex move, like, or hit him or whatever. I think there was just... it was a split decision that he had to make in a certain amount of time, and he didn't give enough room, so...
Yeah.
Happens.
Kind of just jumped over and didn't check.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how this race goes. Probably not going to watch it live this time.
I usually don't.
Yeah. I usually try to, just so I can vote driver of the day, and like the off chance that Lando wins, I want to be live for it.
Yeah.
But it's not happening in this race, so I'm
2
like...
2 a.m. is early.
Yeah. But this is the last race for a long time that will be on a weird time zone. The next race after this is Miami, and it will be on our time. So excited. And it's also like my home state, so I'm excited.
Miami's fun.
Yeah. The vibes are always fun, the celebrities that come, like, and then their weird, like, American intro that they do.
Yeah, we've had the first year at Miami, we had some really good racing.
Yeah.
Last year was meh. So hopefully we'll get some good racing this year.
Yeah, I really hope Logan does well there.
That would be so fun.
He definitely is getting driver of the day for that, for me.
Yeah.
Because he needs something this year.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Yeah.
I want him to do well so bad.
And that's when they're getting their updates. Upgrades for Williams and McLaren, actually, at Miami.
Okay.
So that should be fun. And I'm like, McLaren getting upgrades. Already at Miami. And they've been doing so good. This makes me really excited. I don't want that to be like there
was some type of conspiracy that, like, whatever team got a 1-2 at a certain race never won the championship. And I don't remember what it was. I probably shouldn't have brought it up.
Oh,
I can't
no. Yes, you're right. It was at the headliner of the season. Every time in the past, like, 6 years, if Bahrain's the headliner right now, if a team got a 1-2 at Bahrain, then they wouldn't win the championship at the end of the year. And did that happen this year with Checo? And
yeah, they got a 1-2.
Oh. Last year, they didn't. It was just Max that won. But somebody else got P2. And then the year before that was Charles and Carlos. And they did not win the championship.
No.
So,
I mean, maybe if McLaren gets the right updates. Or...
Lando has always said, from behind the scenes and what he's seen at the MTC, 2025 and 2026 is going to be the papaya year. Like, he could see wins, he could see a real fight for both championships. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Right now, I would say if there's a team that has a chance to actually fight with the Red Bulls, it would be Ferrari.
Yeah.
They're definitely second fastest right now.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And McLaren could get up there because Mercedes is not doing good this season.
Dare I say, like, P3 for McLaren?
I can see that. It. Yeah.
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 I don't know. I guess we'll see how the season goes.
Alrighty.
I think
we ran out of things to talk about today.
Yeah. Like we said, it's going to be a shorter episode this week. But that happens. And
yeah. Short and sweet. Hope you liked it.
Yeah. And don't forget, she will be out of town next week because of her cruise, so super fun for her. But I will be having a guest on next week, so make sure to just tune in at the same time that we usually do, Thursdays at 12:30 p.m. EST. So.
I will definitely be tuning in. So
from your cruise?
Listen with me. I'll have to tune in when I get back.
Yeah.
I don't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But
that'll be fun, though.
In my heart.
In your heart, you'll be tuning in.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see all the
I'll be sending
pictures.
all of you guys the cruise vibes.
Yeah. If you see anybody, like, where are you going? You're, like, going Bahamas? Mm-hmm. Okay. You see anybody with, like, F1 merch?
F1 merch. I'm kind of hoping we'll be in Miami the week before.
True.
Right? I'm like, maybe I'll catch a glimpse of one of them.
I know that Lando last year came, like, a week and a half early.
They partied last year.
I know.
They all were, like, partying like crazy when they went to Miami.
Yeah, Lando and Logan, because Logan has family in Fort Lauderdale, so... Yeah. If you see a Formula 1 driver, I'm going to be so jealous. But I will love it for you too. Like,
oh, that would be so exciting.
I'm hoping that happens now. That would be so much like, be like, oh, by the way, we have a podcast.
Hey, do you want to come on my podcast?
Do you want to come on my podcast? We'll be there at Coda. Like, we can just interview quickly.
Yeah, we'll just do a quick like interview. Get me into the press, like,
yeah, we'll be fine.
We'll be fine. We don't control that, but whatever.
I know.
All right. Anyways, before we just ramble on forever, that's Checker Flag.
Bye, guys.